Netflix have built a reputation and a sizable empire from online streaming content, typically in the form of TV shows spanning 10 to 13 episodes long in the comedy or drama category. However, this is far from their only focus, as this monstrous media giant wants to stomp all over Hollywood and eat it for breakfast. What I'm trying to say is that Netflix produce their own movies now, and they're getting pretty great at it. Our rules for this list are simple. They have to be a Netflix original in some form or other. This can extend to being produced by Netflix or distributed exclusively by them. The title of Netflix original is a little wishy-washy, but if they can get away with slapping it on everything, so can we. So, without further ado, these are the 10 best Netflix movies. Number 1. Roma. Known for technical marvels like Gravity and Children of Men, Alfonso Cuarón puts everything into what many predict to be the Oscar frontrunner for Best Picture. Based on his experiences and upbringing, Roma shows life in 1970s Mexico through the eyes of a maid in service to an upper-middle-class family, and the turmoil that she, practically an outsider, sees from the inside. Roma is clearly a personal project for Cuarón. That much is evident from the sheer attention to detail put into its production design. You can see this passion on display in all facets of the movie's look, from his epic sprawling city street-wide shots to his quiet and intimate close-ups. Without a doubt, this is a film which deserves to win truckloads of awards in directing, acting, production design and cinematography, whether those categories get televised or not. As a black and white foreign film, Roma has defied the trappings of a smaller Best Foreign Film category, while also appealing to Academy voters with a huge Oscar campaign and theatrical release alongside online streaming for the comfort of home. Roma is a film that deserves to be seen on the big screen, and yet it's also accessible to stream through the power of Netflix for those unable to reach it at the cinema. While this is an artsy Oscar film that might be a little bit slower paced and not as accessible as a marathon of Friends, we cannot recommend Roma enough. Number 2. Annihilation. In this thinking person sci-fi, Natalie Portman plays Lena, a cellular biologist and former soldier tasked with taking her team of fellow female scientists to investigate the Shimmer, a mysterious expanding bubble which infects and mutates the life inside it. No one has ever returned from the Shimmer until Lena's soldier husband returns an ill amnesiac. What will they find in the overgrowth, and will they ever come out? I ummed and ahed about putting this film on the list. Not because it isn't good, it's incredible, but because it's a film many would say should not qualify for this list. It was produced by Paramount Pictures and released in theatres around the US, but internationally, it was distributed by Netflix as digital only. Many of the other Netflix films on this list got theatrical releases everywhere, but us British limeys couldn't get the cinematic experience for what is a vibrant and haunting kaleidoscope of fantasy sci-fi horror. With Annihilation, director Alex Garland, the genius behind the AI thriller Ex Machina, treats us to another terrifying concept which, despite taking a while to kick off, is a mind-bending trip that's really hard to explain without spoiling completely. I called it a fantasy sci-fi horror about 20 seconds ago. That's 3 completely different genres of film that it somehow both fits and excels in. I can understand why Paramount thought this was too intellectual, or at least a difficult film to market and sell to the public, because, well, it is. But it's still a unique marketing tactic from Paramount, who seem to be increasingly okay with the practice after surprising everyone with the Cloverfield paradox before everyone found out it was absolute trash. Ex Machina is a personal favourite of mine, and its highbrow sci-fi sister Annihilation somehow manages to reach its unbelievably high standard. That's why it makes this best of list, even if it does so on a technicality. Number 3. Okja. Okja is a cute Korean tale about a unique hybrid pig. It's also a not-so-subtle romp through the horrifying reality of our meat industry and the capitalism behind it. Writer-director Bong Joon-ho, who previously gave us The Host and Snowpiercer, initially tells a sweet story of a little girl and her animal friend. That's before the tale twists into a wacky adult thriller, filled with exciting chase scenes and mad-hat maniacal performances from the likes of Jake Gyllenhaal and Tilda Swinton. Some dismiss the movie as vegetarian propaganda, but I would say that it transcends that label. It's more a crazy critical satire of the corporate greed behind the meat industries and their methods. If anything, this film had stirred up more controversy with the elitist film purists at Cannes Film Festival, who all booed the film when the Netflix logo popped up. Some argue that if a film doesn't get a theatrical release, it's not worthy of the recognition and praise a traditional release should get, and that digital streaming will be the death of the industry. That's becoming a theme in this video. Sure, it's dramatic, but these kinds of opinions tend to come from the people in the movie theatre industry who see Netflix as a competitive threat. To me, Okja is worthy of heaps of praise for its ingenuity and warmth. It's at very least my favourite film involving a pig which gets lost in New York City since Babe, Pig in the City. Number 4. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, a 6-part anthology of tongue-in-cheek tales from the old American West, is the latest effort from the Coen brothers. The Coens, of course, known for their cutting oddball wit in films such as Fargo and The Big Lebowski, and it's fair to say that it's a prominent feature here. It's crazy seeing such high-profile directors producing Netflix films, or at least what could have been 6 episodes of a limited TV show, strung together enough to qualify for this list at least. Tim Blake Nelson's Buster Scruggs is fantastically fun to watch in part 1, but it takes sideline to a fantastic cast of mostly respectable actors in every other story. James Franco, Tom Waits, Zoe Kazan, and Tyne Daly all lead their wildly different stories, all designed to dip into the Coens' wide mastery of mixing dark humour, tragedy, and absurdism. While some felt the format led to some distracting tonal inconsistencies, I respectfully disagree. It's a variety box of pitch black chocolates all tied together by its well-realised setting, and themes of foreboding and death. I just love a good Coen brothers film, and Netflix did well to snap this up. Number 5. Black Mirror Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch is an interactive feature-length film from the creators of Black Mirror. The year is 1984 and you control the major choices of Stefan, a video game programmer whose ambition is to adapt a legendary choose-your-own-adventure novel into a fully playable game. But how much free will does he have? Will you guide him to victory, or are there darker forces at play? Trust Netflix to further blur the lines between TV, movies and video games, eh? This is a strange entry into the list considering how it's not quite your typical feature-length film. Then again, the concept of big-budget films going straight to streaming services was previously thought of as mental too, so it's in pretty good company. While interactive storytelling has already been done with video games and kids' TV shows such as Netflix's own Puss in Boots Trapped in an Epic Tale, this is the first seamless live-action theatrical film for adults to do it. I wouldn't say it's as soul-crushing as some of Black Mirror's other entries, but instead Bandersnatch has fun experimenting with its format, and encourages you to dissect and repeat until you have every major ending. While one path can end after 40 minutes, and most viewers tend to average around 90, there is up to 150 minutes of unique footage to see overall in this wide-reaching digital labyrinth. It's super meta, made for some great water cooler discussions at work afterwards, and is a film experience you can get nowhere else. Number 6. The Meyerowitz Stories. We've ragged on Adam Sandler plenty of times in the past, but we do so with love. We know that he can achieve great things because films like Punch Drunk Love, Happy Gilmore, and The Wedding Singer exist. We have him being funny on tape, and by that I mean go watch our top 10 best and worst Adam Sandler videos. They're very good. However, we just missed out on what might be Adam Sandler's best performance. The Meyerowitz Stories stars Adam Sandler alongside Ben Stiller, Emma Thompson and Dustin Hoffman, and is written and directed by Noah Baumbach. Said stories follow a group of adult siblings of an aging artist and their unresolved daddy issues. It's as funny as it is sincere and grounded, and made your typical man-baby Sandler act like a real grown-up, not a grown-up's too grown-up. Baumbach's sharp and believable dialogue brings out the best in Sandler, who I've always believed was capable of higher-brow things. His usual teenage demographic would probably not enjoy this one, but for once, this is an Adam Sandler film for adults. Number 7. Gerald's Game. Gerald's Game is a horror movie based on a Stephen King novel, which, let's be honest, could mean a number of things. An absolute Bobbins adaptation of a good novel, or a Bobbins botch job of a Bobbins book. Luckily for us, Gerald's Game is a quality adaptation of the 1992 novel of the same title. Handcuffed to a bed after some kinky fun time, Jessie suddenly finds herself trapped for real after her husband Gerald dies of a heart attack in front of her. Bedbound in a remote cabin, Jessie must try and escape before she loses her mind and her life. It's directed by burgeoning horror legend Mike Flanagan, who made the popular spooky films Oculus, Ouija, and Netflix's The Haunting of Hill House. Besides having a fantastic concept, The film makes use of Jesse's hallucinations to deliver the kind of psychological horror that makes you never want to use handcuffs again. I know, there are better ways to recommend films, but this is some classic Stephen King done right, held up incredibly by Carla Gugino's tense performance. If that sounds like scary fun time to you, definitely stick it on your watch list. Number 8. Icarus. Netflix, as of writing, only have 2 Oscars under their belt. While they hope to change that this year, it was their documentaries which managed to break the ice with the ever-snooty Academy. While Netflix won their first Academy Award with their short doc, The White Helmets, my favourite one of theirs goes to Netflix's second Oscar win, Icarus, which investigates how the Russian Olympic team managed to use steroids for so long without being caught. Brian Fogel goes on a journey with professional doping coach Dr. Grigory Rodchenkov, where he himself takes the steroids and uses the techniques the Russians use to bypass drug tests and go for gold. It isn't only a mind-blowing window into the darker side of professional sporting competitions, but becomes a tense and scarily relevant thriller, as Dr. Rodchenkov fears he has become a liability to a corrupt and tyrannical Russia. While the documentary started as a curious insight into athletes cheating at a high-level competition, it happens upon something much bigger and much scarier than it could have ever imagined. Even if you're not into sports, this documentary is essential viewing, and one of Netflix's best original offerings. Number 9. Mudbound. This drama follows 2 veterans who, after fighting in the Second World War, return to their poor and troubled hometown in the rural south of America. Garrett Hedlund's Jamie is a white man who suffers from alcoholism and PTSD, and Ronsel, played by Jason Mitchell, is a black man determined not to be brought down by the casual racism of civilian life. While Mary J. Blige missed out on winning Best Supporting Actress in 2018, her performance is one of many brilliant reasons not to skip over this gut-wrenching historical drama about race, mental health, and the American dream. Mudbound also made Oscar history for its Best Cinematography nomination, as its cinematographer Rachel Morrison was the first woman ever to be nominated for the award. While other historical dramas highlight the issues of a different time, this one does everything to make you feel the harrowing consequences of every injustice it throws at you. It is a relentless, blunt, carefully crafted tragedy which shines a light on the ugliest side of post-war America. Watch it now and let it drag you through the mud emotionally. Number 10. Beasts of No Nation. Beasts of No Nation was Netflix's first solely produced film that they didn't just buy distribution rights to and slap Netflix original on it. This was the first true Netflix original movie, and one they should be proud of. It stars Idris Elba and follows the story of a child named Agu from West Africa. His village was taken over by rebel militia. He becomes separated from his family and is then adopted by a rebel group as a child soldier. Agu's unknown corner of Africa is an apocalyptically violent world flooded with colour and carnage. Choosing to follow an innocent child through his transformation into an enlisted soldier, it is a huge credit to the child actor in the lead role, Abraham Atta, for displaying this change so well. He outperforms Idris Elba. Fukunaga also served as cinematographer on this film and has clearly shown he can do it all, because this film looks beautiful, despite the horror of its contents. While many war stories leave you with a newfound respect for your country's veterans or make for a motivational advertisement for the US Army, American Sniper, Beasts of No Nation is a powerful and sickening trench run that does nothing to shy away from the ugliest side of conflict. An essential watch. Which is your favourite Netflix film? Are there any that you think that should have made the list? Let us know in the comments below, and thank you for watching All Time Movies. I've been Georgia, and we'll see you next time.